Hello and welcome back to Thumbnail Roast, your favorite series where I roast my subscribers' thumbnails. Every channel that I'm roasting today has filled out the form linked in the description, so if you want your thumbnails roasted, fill out the form linked below. Alright, the first channel we are looking at is Edward Crockett. 6,000 subs, very nice. Okay, 3 easy cinematic lighting looks. YouTubers ruined this lens. My super efficient one-man band filmmaking kit. Cinematography playbook past lives. Cinematography playbook the bear. Alright, so I can already see what I think is the main problem with this channel. First off, mate, I wanted to say you're crushing it. And if you want to email me and fix this lighting, then please do that. But here's what I think the main problem is with your thumbnails. I think you are not visually explaining the video's premise very clearly in your thumbnail. This series here, I really like this idea here. Cinematography playbook past lives. Cinematography playbook the bear. I think that title could do with some work. It's not obvious enough what that video is about. Maybe you would simplify it to something like cinematography breakdown of past lives or something like that, because cinematography playbook isn't super obvious. All right, let's screenshot and look at this thumbnail. So if you were scrolling on YouTube and you saw this thumbnail, what would you immediately presume it's about? I would presume it's probably a video essay based on the TV show The Bear. That is my first assumption. I wouldn't guess it's got anything to do with cinematography. So how can you make this more obvious that it's about cinematography? Because that's a really cool niche. That's a really cool angle. An inspiration for you could be breaks down a scene. So here you can see with these drawings on top of it, you can immediately understand like what this video is about. So this here is a really good thumbnail. With this thumbnail here, I understand, even if I don't know who Ben Stiller and Adam Scott are, I immediately understand it is people talking about the TV show Severance. Obviously, everyone knows who they are. But you could do a similar thing here. You just have some drawings and stuff like that on the thumbnail. Another thing you could do is have you in the thumbnail. Yeah, pretty much exactly like you've done here. Another thing I think is finding, maybe this here would work well. We just want like an icon or something to show that this is about cinematography. And I think something even as small as this kind of shows that, hey, this is a breakdown of the cinematography. You just want to make it very visually clear from the thumbnail alone what this video is. And since you're all about cinematography, we really want to get that across. I'll look at one last video here before we jump onto the next creator. I think we'll look at this one here. My super efficient one-man band filmmaking kit. The all-in-one Pelican case. All right, so this is a really good example here, actually. We'll look at this. There is a pretty big issue here, in my opinion. So what you're doing here is appealing to people that either know the brand Pelican. I don't know the brand Pelican, but you're appealing to people in the thumbnail here that know the brand Pelican. If that's who you're appealing to in this video, then they're not going to ever find this video because you don't have the word Pelican case in the title. So people who are searching for Pelican case or Pelican case review or anything like that, they probably won't find this video because you're only using those words in the thumbnail. But let's say you're actually trying to target people who are searching on YouTube for one-man band filmmaking kit or filmmaking kits or something like that. Then when they see this thumbnail here, it's all about the Pelican case. So the only people who can click on this video now are specifically interested in filmmaking kits because that's what they search for, but now are only interested if it's about specifically the brand Pelican. So what I would do here is choose one of these two options personally. You either stick with this title here, my super efficient one-man band filmmaking kit, and then in the thumbnail here, it's got nothing to do with specifically the term Pelican case. So it's you and then the kit here, and let's say a camera. That's my drawing of a camera going inside the suitcase or kit or whatever you want to call it. And the term Pelican case isn't mentioned anywhere here because now anyone that's interested in filmmaking kits can click on this video, not just the people who are interested in filmmaking kits and specifically want to buy a Pelican case. So you're going to have a much broader total addressable market. And the second option here would be the Pelican case review, the ultimate filmmaking kit. So you're specifically targeting people that are searching for and interested in Pelican cases specifically. Hope that helps, mate. Obviously, you're crushing it. You're doing really well. I would just make sure that you start off with playing the Caveman Game, or I used to call it the Pictionary game, where basically you're trying to understand what visual elements do I need in the thumbnail in order to visually explain the premise. Round of applause, everyone. Well done, mate. All right, let's look at the next one. It is from this channel here called Dinosaur Television. And they said, first of all, I really like your videos. I've been following them closely for a long time. I would love to hear your thoughts about my thumbnails. Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's go through your thumbnails. So, Dinosaur Television here, 53,000 subs. Very nice. So, these thumbnails here are very good. Yeah, they're very, very, very good. 18,000 views, 44,000, 16, 79, 68, 37. Your most popular is 4 million views. That's amazing. I don't think your thumbnails here are the issue if you're trying to get more views. I think your thumbnails here are genuinely really good. All right, your worst performing ones are all about a year ago. So let's see. Epic, I don't know how to pronounce that. Kaiju, Monsters, Godzilla Team versus Dinosaur Team Battle, Animal Revolt Battle Simulator. Best of Dinosaur Evolution, Spider-Man, T-Rex, Hunting, Found, King Kong, Mosasaurus Superheroes. Iron Man finds himself as dinosaur form in Death Run versus Skibidi, Godzilla, King Kong, and Jurassic World. Okay, so I think the thing here for you to really perfect, your thumbnails are really, really good. Personally, I think the thing that you could improve the most on in this channel is just idea selection. So maybe spend more time on brainstorming different ideas and really try to narrow down on the ideas that have the widest TAM. This idea here for the channel is already quite niche, so picking very niche ideas within that niche could just limit the amount of views that you're getting. But you're crushing it. Well done. Let's move on to the next one. All right, this is the next channel here. Okay, I'm going to butcher this name. I think it's Lecturas con Dibujitos. I hope I did a good job of that. So this here is in, I'm presuming, Spanish. If it's not, I'm very sorry. So I don't speak Spanish, but that actually might work out for this. So with thumbnail design, ideally you want to be able to convey the video's premise without using any text, and especially not needing the title's help. And since I can't read Spanish, that actually helps because I should be able to understand what the video is about without reading the title. All right, so from the looks of it, this is reviews of comic books. That is my guess here. If it's not that, then these probably need a redesign. I'll just look at this series here that you have going. So 98 views, 166, 81, 91 views. When I hover over and see the autoplay, you're actually drawing in these, which is making me question what this video is about. All right, so I just Google translated this. It's an adventure of friendship and magic. I think these here need a bit of work in the packaging. So the packaging is the thumbnail and the title combined. You really want to make it obvious what this video is about. Is this a review? Is this you drawing the characters from this comic book? Is this an educational video where you're teaching people how to draw? Or is this an entertainment video where you're perhaps doing a drawing challenge or something? Or is this a comic book review? I think just working on making sure that it's very obvious in the thumbnail and the title what this video is about and what value you are going to bring will help you a lot in views. So this here, okay, I'm presuming this is a review. This book, and it says horrible. So is this a review? And if so, how could you make that more obvious? Could you do a 1 star? Could you put the book in a bin or something like that? Just make it really obvious what this video is about. Clearly you have very good design skills and a really good eye for graphic design. But I think just ensuring that you're making it very clear what value you're bringing in these videos will help you out a lot. Well done, round of applause, and let's get to the next channel. All right, this is the next channel here. So looks like a VR gaming channel. World's hardest VR game, boxing my girlfriend in VR, dad plays Minecraft. They added zombies to body cam and I'm scared. That one seems to be your best performing of the recent ones, which is interesting. Let's have a look at your most popular. I tried to play DayZ without outside help. All right, so clearly a gaming channel, and in the recent, it looks like you found kind of a niche with VR. This video here is quite interesting to talk about TAM. So again, TAM, if you don't know, total addressable market, it's a really important thing to understand for YouTube. People really don't talk about it, and I don't know why. Well, I do. It's very nerdy and quite boring to understand. But basically, it's what is the potential size of this audience that would find this interesting? And this here, they added zombies to body cam, and I'm scared. Body cam is, I'm pretty sure, a VR game that looks very realistic, if I'm thinking of the right one. You already have to understand that this is VR, and you have to know what this game is. You have to know what body cam is. So if this here is the TAM for VR, then the amount of people who know what body cam is like this. It's a very, very small amount of people. And that's completely fine because it's quite a popular game. But the problem here is, from the thumbnail here, if we don't have this text, I have no idea what this is. So the problem with this is I don't know who this is. Is this a gameplay? What's happening here? And I don't know what's happening here. So the what is VR. All right, so I just searched up body cam gameplay. This one, 1.3 million. This one, 6.3 million. Yeah, these here, I can tell that it's a first-person video game. Whereas I can't really tell that from this. So what you could do is potentially do an A/B test here of taking just a normal screenshot from the game. And then, I don't know, I'm sure there's a house in the game that everyone recognizes, something like that. And then you add a bunch of zombies here. Then it might just be a bit more obvious what this game's about. You instantly recognize that it's a first-person game. The people who have played Body Cam might recognize a certain location or something, and then people recognize, hey, that this is zombies. So you can pretty quickly understand what this video is. All right, let's look at one last example for this channel before we move on to the next one. All right, this video here, the world's hardest VR game. So if the video's premise is that this is the world's hardest VR game, I can tell that it's VR game because you are wearing VR goggles or whatever they're called. That makes sense, but it doesn't look very difficult because there's no stakes or anything. I just see, you using a hammer on a red stick. I don't understand what's happening. With your thumbnails, you just need to visually explain what the video is. This here isn't showing me that it's difficult whatsoever. So make sure that is coming across in the thumbnail. Round of applause. All right, let's move on to the next channel. All right, we have this channel here, and they said, I'm in the beginning of my YouTube journey, and I'd be really frustrated with views and stuff, but I'm putting in the work, and I won't give up. I really like your videos, by the way. Congrats. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So you've only done a few videos, which is totally fine. And this one here is doing pretty good. So you have this video here, making the same environment in Blender and Maya. Here are my thoughts. That's a really cool video idea. That's a really cool video idea. And you've done a really, really good job of explaining that in the thumbnail. I can see the Blender logo and the Maya logo, or however you pronounce that software. And I can see the exact same thing here in both of them. So from the thumbnail alone, I understand that you made the same thing in these two programs. Very good job with that thumbnail. That's really, really good. Okay, let's look at this one here. 9 days ago, the 10 best Blender projects, January 2025. Ideally, don't have text in the thumbnail unless you need to. You want to visually describe the thumbnail's premise with just imagery and use text as a last resort. And what you're doing here is a pretty common mistake that a lot of people make where they just write the same text in the title as they do in the thumbnail. You don't want to do that. You're repeating information. What you want to do for this one is start with the Caveman Game. So how can you visually describe what this video is about in only a few icons? So if you were a caveman and you were trying to explain this story here of the 10 best Blender projects for January 2025, how would you get that across? If you were drawing inside of a cave, how would you get that across in only a few icons? Well, the first one here is Blender. So Blender is easy. You've got the logo, whatever that looks like, something like that. So we're getting that across. And then we have 10 best projects, January 2025. The month here doesn't matter. Like, this isn't a recurring series that people are tuning into every single month. You're a new channel. I would maybe have 5-star here. Let's say that. And we'll move this up here as well. And then here I would pick 3 projects. So this here will be where some Blender screenshots go. And you could have an arrow or something like that. You don't even necessarily need that. And then basically here I can quickly understand Blender, 5-star, 3 things made in Blender. Okay, this is like really good things made in Blender. And that's what your video is. It's just nice things made in Blender. The month here doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's 10 or if it's 20 or if it's 3. You just want to get the point across here that you're going through really impressive Blender projects. And a layout like this would do a good job of visually explaining that. But what you've done with this one here, I mean, as you can see from the views as well, 2.9 in 2 days on a new channel. Well done. Like, that's awesome. Well done. Round of applause. Next channel. All right, this is the next channel here, Semicolon Guy. And he said, my channel minimalist thumbnails work well, but thumbnails with more graphics and text are not working really. Why is that? If you can roast them, I would be happier than ever. All right, let's go through it. So you literally just gave the answer in your question. Basically, what happens is if you have a lot of visual elements in your thumbnail, the brain has to do a lot of deciphering to try and understand what's happening. There's 4 goals of a thumbnail, and that's one of them. I talk about that more in detail in my course, which I'm working on and will hopefully come out soon. But one of the 4 goals in your thumbnail is to visually explain the premise. And your brain is incentivized to use the least amount of energy possible. So the more stuff that you have going on in your thumbnail, the more work your brain has to do. And the brain doesn't like that. So if it sees 2 thumbnails, one is really cluttered and one is really simple, it's going to prefer the simple one because it just has to use less energy to understand what's happening here. So I really like the niche for your channel here of software engineering. I think that's really cool. All right, so let's have a look at a few of these busy ones that you said weren't working. All right, we'll look at this one here. All right, let's just count the amount of elements that you have. 1, 2, 3. That's 13 elements, and if you include these arrows here, you could say 15. That is way too much. That is just too much for the brain to decipher and try to understand. It's too much mental work, and the brain's like, no, I don't like that. I have to do too much thinking, and it will move on, basically. So some of you watching might have heard of the popular thumbnail design rule of 3 elements. This is pretty common thumbnail advice, where basically you want to try and only use 3 elements in the thumbnail. Now, that can be difficult to do, and that's why you want to start with the Caveman Game. How can you draw, if you were drawing as a caveman trying to convey a story or convey a piece of information, how would they draw this with only icons? So what is this video about? It's how to get a paid software engineering internship. Resume review for software engineers. Okay, so there's actually kind of 2 premises in this title here as well. One of them is a resume review, and the other premise is getting a paid software engineering internship. So you kind of have 2 premises here as well, which is too much as well. This is a mistake that a lot of people make. They think, oh, if I have 2 premises in the title or in the thumbnail, then I'll get the people who are interested in this premise and the people who are interested in this premise. But that's not what happens. Actually, what happens is you get the people interested in this premise minus those who aren't interested in this premise. Let's just do this example with some really quick maths. So how to get a paid software engineering internship. Let's just say, hypothetically, 100 people are interested in that. And a resume review for software engineers, let's say that 70 people are interested in that. It is not 100 plus 70. You won't get 170 views for this. It's actually 100 people minus 70. So only 30 views. Because if I like this premise here, how to get a paid software engineering internship, but I don't find a resume review interesting, then I won't click on this video here. So for every video you make, try not to combine 2 premises. Try to only have 1 premise. So what we'll do is pretend you remove the words resume review here, and we'll just do a thumbnail for this first part of the title, how to get a paid software engineering internship. So I have a few brands here. You have the Gmail logo. I'm presuming this is an interview. So let's do this instead. Let's just have the person you are interviewing, and then let's have the email, because I like this email idea. And then let's have that email be from Meta. So that here will be the Meta logo. And it says something like paid internship. Now I understand this person is going to talk about how at a high-tech company, you get a paid internship. And that's what this video is about. And we're just doing it with 3 elements. So 1, 2, 3. We're just doing it with 3 elements instead of 13. It's just a lot more concise and a lot more visually efficient. Another quick thing to mention, if you're doing podcasts, guys, you don't need logos in here. Don't have logos. And you do not need the number of the episode. These are very common mistakes that I see for podcasts. Most podcast creators, what they're doing is looking for inspiration from other podcasts. And everyone's putting the number of the episode in the title or in the thumbnail. So then everyone else does it. But instead of looking what everyone else is doing, just think about it from a consumer perspective. Do you, when you're looking to listen to a podcast, do you look at the episode number? You know, you're probably not like, oh, I like this podcast. You know what? I remember listening to episode 357. That's not how you're thinking. You're looking at the thumbnail and title to see if you're interested in watching that video, not by the episode number. And you definitely don't need a logo either, especially when it's that small. Round of applause. Well done, mate. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, we have this channel here. So it is all about, we have a bit of thumbnail design stuff as well, bit of YouTube growth stuff, but it's all about specifically being a Minecraft YouTuber. That's a really cool niche. Your thumbnails here are phenomenal. They are really, really good. The only thing is these 2 here. So if I saw these thumbnails here on YouTube, what do I think these videos are about? So I would say that this here is how to blow up your YouTube channel. And I would presume this is a tutorial on OBS and you're making it seem really easy. But they're not actually about that. They're specifically about how to create Minecraft videos and how to record and live stream for Minecraft specifically. So the key elements that you're missing from both of these thumbnails here is Minecraft. I don't understand that these videos here are about Minecraft. So you're targeting people making Minecraft videos, and they're scrolling through YouTube, and they see blow up your channel and an OBS tutorial. That's not going to stop them whilst they're scrolling, because they're specifically interested in Minecraft. So the people who are making Minecraft videos don't know that this is for them. And then someone like me, let's say, I'm like, oh, I want to watch a video on how to blow up on YouTube. And then after seeing the thumbnail, I'll read the title, how to create a viral Minecraft video. Oh, this is about Minecraft. I don't want to watch that. So with these thumbnails here, you're not appealing to your target audience of people that are making Minecraft videos, but you're also not appealing to the channels who are just making YouTube videos or just looking to live stream. So basically, if your niche is specifically helping people make Minecraft videos, which I think is an awesome niche, then basically make sure that that's obvious here in the thumbnails. And it is in pretty much all of these here, just except for these two. So I would just be wary of that. Cool, well done, round of applause. Let's go to the next one. All right, we have this channel here, and they said, I want to do more I-trained like artist videos, but I'm having issues on making a thumbnail that creates curiosity. The Michael Jackson one had a good click-through rate because it creates curiosity and showcases the premise quickly since the Michael Jackson move is so popular. So let's have a look at that thumbnail. It's this one here. I trained like Michael Jackson for a week. 40,000 views. That's awesome. So that is a ton of views, and that's a really, really good thumbnail. So I want to do more I train like artist videos, but I'm having issues on making a thumbnail. Yep. So this one here, I train like Chris Brown for a week. That here is a really good follow-up. But there are some issues here with this thumbnail. The first one is I can't actually tell that it's Chris Brown. He's just a bit too small in the thumbnail. You know, when we're designing it like this up close, but we're going to see it like this. And here you just can't tell that it's Chris Brown. I don't know who this is. I'm presuming this is just a backup dancer on stage. It's another element, and it's confusing me, and it doesn't help with the video's premise. The premise is I train like Chris Brown for a week. This backup dancer has nothing to do with that. Then you have the text me, and you have the text day 7. I think a better way of conveying this would be maybe doing a split screen. On one side here, you have a reasonable close-up of Chris Brown doing some dance move, and then having day 7, and then have you on this side here. You could have the text day 1 or day 0 or something like that, but I don't think that's necessary. You just want to ensure that in both of these, so you and Chris Brown here, are both doing some dance move in the thumbnail, but it's just a lot more zoomed in. You want to have it almost cropped to like this size here. Remember, with thumbnails, we're designing it like this, but people are seeing it as small as this. I talk about this in my upcoming course as well. It's called the zoom out test. Basically, just zoom out of your thumbnail and just ensure that the video's premise is obvious when you see the thumbnail really small. Round of applause. Let's go to the next channel. All right, here is the next channel. Evan Berger, a 19-year-old college student on a mission to master productivity and self-improvement. Okay, so I can see here that you've tried a bunch of different kind of angles and thumbnail styles and all of that, which is good. Your best performing one is this one, how I make time for everything as a college student. So the problem here is when you're talking about a topic like this, you have to have quite a bit of authority for people to trust you. And since you're in college, it can be difficult to give, financial advice or life advice or whatever. So at this stage of your YouTube journey, I would probably just narrow down and specifically talk about college because that target audience is just more likely to trust your advice. And it's something that you'll have a unique perspective on. So for example, you've done a video here about Ali Abdaal. He specifically started his channel talking about medical school. So it was just nice and niche. And then he went broader and broader in the topics. And I would recommend you probably do the same. You're competing here with a lot of channels, and those channels just have a lot of authority in the space. You're competing with Ali Abdaal. You're competing with Mark Manson. You're competing with Dan Martell. You're competing with Matt Gray. You're competing with all these people who have just a lot of credibility to give this advice. So if we take this video idea here, not doing these 3 things will make you fail in 2025. If a random 30-year-old is seeing this exact same video premise by a college student, or Dan Martell, for example, they're just more likely to trust Dan Martell. That's not a downplay to you. That's just, Dan Martell has a lot of credibility to give this advice. So I would probably just focus in right now on self-improvement for college students. Hope you found that useful. Round of applause. Let's move on to the next channel. All right, this is the next channel here. So how I manage my time like a minimalist, 20 normal things minimalists don't do. I tried extreme minimalism for 7 days. So you have 30,000 subscribers, which is awesome. So you said, I always struggle with making thumbnails. I recently spent quite a bit of time studying what makes a good thumbnail, what does well in my niche, which is minimalism and intentional living. And I'm experimenting with 3 thumbnails per video now that YouTube allows me to split test them. I'm especially thinking more about the psychology of the click now when I'm creating a thumbnail. How can I build intrigue in combination with the title? Thanks for the question. Let's go through it. All right, this one here did really well. 5 easy Dutch habits for a happier, healthier life. I'm presuming this is your best performing video. It is not. You have this one here. What is slow living? Slow living for beginners. evening routine as a slow living minimalist. I actually think I watched this video. This is interesting. So slow living is your best two performing videos, slow living and slow living. But in a lot of your recent stuff, you are saying minimalist instead. All of these are about minimalism, but your best performing videos are about slow living. All right, so I've gone to Google Trends and searched for minimalism just to see if it's trending up or down. It looks like it's pretty stable here. So this is for the past 5 years. It looks pretty stable here, which is good. And then we'll test out slow living as well. Slow living here seems to be steadily rising with some large spikes and dips, which is interesting. But this here could tell us that slow living is a thing that is becoming more and more popular over time. If this here is a topic that's done well for you and is trending upwards, then maybe instead of trying to go after this, minimalism niche, maybe going after the slow minimalism space would be a better idea. I also think this idea here is quite interesting. 5 easy Dutch habits for a happier, healthier life. If that did well and people want to specifically hear about Dutch habits, could you do it with other countries? Could you do the Greek idea of siga siga, if I'm pronouncing that right? Or the Japanese idea of wabi sabi, if I'm pronouncing that right? Or the Swedish idea of lagom? Like taking other countries' ideas of slow living and minimalism and talking about that could be an interesting idea. Obviously, this here was a really good outlier for you. Not only is that interesting from a broad idea of the principles, but you could also dive into the tactics and how to literally apply that in your everyday life. Round of applause. Well done, mate. All right, let's look at one last channel. If I haven't reviewed yours, just know I have so many people that have filled out this thumbnail review form now that I just cannot get to every single person, but hopefully I'll review yours in the next video. Again, if you haven't filled out the form, it is linked in the description. All right, for this last one, they said, hey, I am planning to launch a YouTube channel dedicated to my journey of learning Blender, another Blender channel. The channel will aim to provide both entertainment and educational value by documenting my process and sharing my experiences with the Blender community. I'm currently seeking guidance on effectively conveying this dual purpose within the channel banner. I'm also open to suggestions for a suitable channel name. I would greatly appreciate your thoughts and insights on the matter. So this is what they've got, and this test here was 2 months ago for their thumbnail. And my advice is, mate, you're overthinking it. If you haven't done any of this stuff before, you're probably not going to be great in the first few videos, and that's totally okay. Don't overthink it. This weekend, on Saturday, make one video. On Sunday, make the next video. They're probably not going to be amazing, and that's completely okay. But I can tell you one thing, and this is a very common thing. You're not the only one who said this. A few people who have filled out the form have actually said something similar. You said, I am currently seeking guidance on effectively conveying this dual purpose within the channel banner. The thing holding you back from this channel is not your banner. It's the fact that you haven't made any videos. Most people fall into the trap of trying to make everything perfect on their first upload. I need the perfect profile picture, the perfect banner, the perfect thumbnail, the perfect intro. It doesn't need to be perfect. You just need to start posting videos and slowly improve over time. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen episode 1, then check it out here. Or if you want to see me design a thumbnail from scratch for a client, then click on this video here. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll review yours in the next video.